You are listening to the Postcast, presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. The Glebe Central Pub is your neighborhood pub in the heart of the Glebe. Join them for tasty food, cold drinks, and an amazing atmosphere. It's the Glebe Central Pub. They love the Ottawa Senators just much as you and I. And I'm in a very good place with these Ottawa Senators. How can you not be? The Sens win again. It takes a shootout, but Kevin Mandolese stands tall in his NHL debut. 46 saves later, Drake Batherson ends it in overtime. The final score, 3-2 with the shootout victory. Pilsy, that was awesome.
My goodness, I don't think you could have a better NHL debut than what Mando just had there. He absolutely blew the doors off of my expectations, and I believe probably most of Twitter's expectations, as 46 out of 48 shots stopped, and both attempts in the shootout stopped. This was just an incredible performance by a young kid, 22 years old, a 6th round draft pick, Ross, in 2018. He finally gets his debut. I've been calling for it, and now he got it, and he makes the Sens and myself look like that was the right organizational decision.
It was just awesome to see. It started early as well. He made some great saves after my first note, which is the perfect thing you want to see as a goaltender making your first game. There's no doubt nerves. You're on the road, but the puck was dumped in right away. He's able to go out, play it, make a move, touch the puck, feel good. And then there was a bunch of offensive zone time where no shots came, but you're T-pushing, you're shuffling, you're making sure you're locked in, focused, but you don't have that split second to make a big save. Then first shot comes, boom, easy glove save, gets his first whistle. And you could tell he just calmed it down from there. This was a masterful performance from Mandolese in overtime, especially. 3 bang, bang, boom chances. And he makes all 3 saves. Is there one that stands out to you above all else?
Let me take a look through my notes here. But I just wanted to say quickly that, this is arguably, at least from my perspective, Ross, this is the greatest game I've ever seen Kevin Mandolese play. Regardless of ECHL, Belleville, he was an absolute wall tonight, only allowing the 2 goals. I'm looking through overtime, and this is okay. I only wasn't sure if this was overtime or not. The save for me, Ross, was Horvat in all alone, backhand deke, and Mando gets the pad on it. My hands were in my head. I was ready to pull my hair. I was like, this cannot be the way this ends. They're the big goal scorer that the Islanders trade a massive trade package to get all alone in overtime cannot beat Mando in his NHL debut. This was just so incredible. I was smiling ear to ear because we're so happy for these 2 young goalies that are getting a chance here. Sure, it's not the circumstances you want, but they stepped up, both of these guys, in both games. So the vibes have to be at an all-time high if you're an Ottawa Senators fan, because these 2 guys are getting it done right now. At least for 2 games. It's small sample size, but it's as good as you want, really.
Back-to-back. The Senators have 4 sets of back-to-backs this month, and they started out with back-to-back wins. Going through, do you want to go chronologically, or should we go right to the fact that Tim Stützle has primary points on the Sens' last 6 goals and then scores the only goal in the shootout tonight?
You know what, Ross? Let's start with that. Go ahead.
Tim Stützle. What more can I say about Tim Stützle? He's 21 years old. He's got 12 points in his last 6 games. He's just an unreal player. Every time the puck's on his stick through neutral ice, it's an easy zone entry. This guy, he does it with possession every time. It's uncanny how his puck control, he has it on a string at all times. It's awesome. It's mind-boggling to see his finish, obviously, in the shootout. Classic Tim Stützle, right? Where it's just deke, 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 deke. It's either you're going to bite and I'm going to go backhand, or you're going to go, oh man, we're almost going to completely cover ourselves up with that one. I got to make some changes here to the graphics. My goodness. Geez.
Sorry about that. I should have been on that. Sorry to stop your rant there. There we go. Just wanted to give Eric a little love there.
Oh, we love it. Thanks, Eric. I mean, he took me out of a speechless moment anyways, where you're just looking at, and it's like, what's this guy going to do next is where I'm
Yeah.
at with Tim Stützle, because you just don't know what's going to come out of his bag of tricks anymore. And you just know it's going to be impressive. So get a ticket for Friday if you haven't already, because he's going to
Oh,
do something. He's going to do something.
yeah, and Ross, you mentioned that you thought it's so fun. I can't even say it without laughing. You thought that Tim Stützle didn't have that great of a game, and he ends up having 4 points last game.
He
And
didn't think he had a good game either.
no, no, no. I'm just saying it's hilarious to have standards saying I had 4 points, including the game winner. And yeah, I didn't really love my game tonight. Like, imagine being that damn good that isn't good enough for your standards, regardless of how you feel you played through the rest of the game. But what I was getting at is, in his mind, he's saying, I got to be better. I need to do better than that performance. And I thought he had yet again another incredible game. And he's just so dangerous in any aspect. Like you mentioned, puck is on a string with him. And I feel like sometimes with these young, super talented guys, their hands and feet, they're not quite both there yet, right? Maybe you got the hands, but you don't have the feet. He's got both of them going right now so early. And it's incredible what he's able to do and what he opens up for his teammates. Like, the combination of him and Brady Tkachuk is just at an all-time high, thriving here. As we'll get there when we get there, but I mean, they connect on the second goal as well. Like, these two are just perfect for each other on that top line recently.
You can't ask for anything more, because they connected for each other on the first goal too. Like,
Yes,
like
exactly.
Travis Hamonic goes clapper. He just wants a little, like, Brady's on the half wall neutral zone, and it's just like, okay, let me just like get a tip on it. It goes in, no icing. Let's get a change or chase. No, Brady's able to control it to get it right on the tape, leading. It's like a good quarterback that leads its receiver right into the ball so that he can pick it up with speed. That's what he did for Timmy. And next thing you know, it's in the back of the net. Sick wrist shot. I'm not sure if it goes off of Adam Pellick's stick or not, but either way, it found the back of the net right after I started thinking about our conversation this morning about Ilya Sorokin being a shutout king.
Yep.
And I was starting to get nervous. And then once Timmy scored there and got the first one, obviously you start feeling a little bit better. And then, I mean, take me through Brady Tkachuk's goal in the third period, because that Selly was awesome off the feed from Timmy.
Oh yeah, a great sell. But before we get to the third, I just want to say that first period by the Ottawa Senators was textbook hockey, in my opinion. They were forechecking hard. They were putting pressure on all the Islanders anytime they had possession of the puck. They were making crisp breakout passes. They were getting creative with it. They weren't just doing a drop pass or a simple try to carry the puck in and then you just get stopped at the line that's just clogged up with defenders. They were able to really use all their weapons in different areas, and that's why this top six can go up there with kind of any team in the league when they're fully healthy, because they have so many different ways that they can beat you. And two of those guys connect on a way to beat them. And honestly, even you got to give Thomas Chabot a lot of credit here. One thing that Chabot does really well is that smooth pass where it looks like he's loading up a wrister at the top of the umbrella on the power play, and then he can glide it over to the guy over on the wing, and then that person has the option to either shoot it or try to make another pass. And in Timmy's case, he kind of does both, as he does a shot pass to Brady right out front, and Brady's in his office. He's going to get that more often than not, especially when he has a guy like Tim Stützle that knows, I know Brady's going to be there. I know he's looking for the tip. There's a better chance if I can hit him perfectly on the tape that I can beat a good goalie like Sorokin than I can trying to beat him clean one-on-one with a shot. I'm going to go with that. Brady gets it. And I love Timmy's reaction too, Ross. You know, I'm always kind of highlighting the assist, because Timmy, right when Brady scores, he's just like, yep. Like, because that's a set play. Like, it wasn't an accident that Timmy shoots that and Brady happens to get it. That was perfectly executed. And Brady just goes over to the crowd and he lets them know that he's in the building. And just a great moment between those two young players.
Yeah, and both of them had great sellies. Tim Stützle doing his best Chris Phillips impression with the one-arm salute, giving it to
Yeah.
the UBS Center crowd. But Pilsy, 46 saves for Kevin Mandolese. What was that, like 3 or 4 more than the post tonight? Both posts. Like, I mean, both teams were hitting posts
Yes.
over and over. I think there were 5 total between the two teams. Like,
Yep.
it was making the iron sing, as Drake Batherson would say.
Some crispy shots, as Batherson was probably also saying. And Ross, I mean, Eric Brandstrom, like, two of those were prime scoring opportunities. And that's the thing. Like, the metrics, the numbers, the analytics, whatever you want to call it, are all there for Brandy. He just can't execute because he played both of those shots perfectly and is inches away from scoring a highlight reel goal. Like, if he gets that first one, that's an amazing goal, and he just can't get it to go in there. Because imagine Brandy did get the hat trick, and then I called the goalie to goalie goggle exchange. Like, that would have been, the odds on that would have been astronomical if we were at FanDuel.com.
Oh, it would have been absolutely sick. Now, in this game, how'd you find the flow of it? Like, Mando, obviously 46 saves. You look at it at the end of the day, and that's the story. Senators had 34 shots for what it's worth. Each team scored one of their 2 goals in regulation on the power play. Sens were 1 for 3. Islanders 1 for 6, but
Yep.
they're 1 for 5 in regulation. The Senators killed off an entire 2 minutes in overtime. That was super impressive. Like, Giroux winning the faceoff, getting the clear, getting off the ice, then the consistent block shots by the defenders. I loved what I saw from that. Timmy even got out there and tried to make a play or two, and then I know people wanted the penalty at the end of overtime, but it was so late. It's not like they were going to get much out of that. Hey, did you think that was a bit of a slash on Hamonic?
Yeah, definitely. But also, you got to consider Hamnick was out there for quite a while, so any kind of contact is going to look egregious on him just because he's so gassed. And Ross, if you would ever tell me that your Ottawa Senators had Travis Hamnick playing 3 minutes and 15 seconds in one shift in a 5-minute overtime and would go on to win that game, I'd call you a liar. But that is the truth. I cannot believe that actually happened, that he plays over a 3-minute shift and the Sens somehow win this game. That's just more props to Mando. Like, that's a lot of pressure that he was under because he got tired guys on the ice, and he stands tall and he stays cool in the net. So huge by Mando. And Ross, that I was so frustrated at that too many men call that ends up putting the Sens on the penalty kill there, because, and I wasn't frustrated because I was disappointed. I was frustrated because that's just, I don't know, maybe this is the wrong way to describe it, but that's the Sens being so focused and trying to do everything they can to win this game, that they're trying to change so quickly. Like, Batherson thinks Giroux is coming, and he's like, I'm going to get on the ice in the millisecond I think he's going to come off the change. And Giroux's having the same thing, like, oh no, I got to get to this puck, I can't change right now. Second thinking, and their timing was just a little bit off there. So I was frustrated that happened, but I'm glad it didn't end up costing them, because that would have been a tough way to go down.
It would have been a super tough
Ugh.
way to go down in overtime. And they had their chances. You mentioned the Horvat chance, and then 2 more great saves right after that in overtime. I know none of those were on the penalty kill. It happened right beforehand, but Mando humming in this game. 46 saves is the second most saves in a Senators debut win, one shy of Craig Anderson, who stopped 47 in his first game with Ottawa against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then I sent you this stat from
Yeah.
Sportsnet. Most saves in a victorious NHL debut. Mando second behind Ken Reggett from 1983. That stood up for a little while. He gets 46 tonight, 2 shy of that all-time record. And we always not laugh, but we always talk about the goalie parents, goalie family. How awesome was that? They were all wearing different Mando jerseys from
Yeah,
the years. Didn't see an Allen Americans one or an Atlanta Gladiators one, but
true.
they had the top prospects team or jersey. I don't know. I'm assuming that was his brother or a significant other. The Belleville jersey was in there too. That was just awesome that they kept going back to them in the crowd.
Yeah, that family was absolutely hyped, and I don't think there's a more stressful and like risk reward family viewing than a goalie family, because they're on there 60 minutes, especially when there's 48 friggin' shots. Like, it's just nonstop there. But honestly, that, and Mando probably would say the same. If you're an NHL goalie making your debut, I'd rather have in the 40s of shots rather than like 20, because you don't have time to think or to get nervous or to take the moment in too much or to have distractions get in your way. It's just like, you got tunnel vision on and you're constantly moving and you're staying in the game and you're staying alive. You're feeling it. You're building momentum after each save. So I'm just so happy for Mando. Like, that was just epic. It was epic.
Time for the game summary, presented by the Glebe Central Pub, because you know the entire postcast is presented by the Glebe Central Pub, your neighborhood pub in the heart of the Glebe, 779 Bank Street. Told you about how Mando gets his first start, then plays the initial dump. Feels good. Zaitsev hits the post early. Gambrell stopped on the rebound. Then Dobson hits a post. The shot was tipped on the way there. I mentioned the easy save for Mando. And then Sorokin made a nice save. I'll give it to him on this one. Timmy on a 2-on-1. Brady couldn't put in the rebound. Sen's first power play was absolutely brutal. But right after it, Brandy hits the post. Again, 2 posts for Eric Brandstrom not for Brandstrom, for the team. Zaitsev hit the other one in the first period at least. And then just a bunch of back and forth. I thought it was a good first period overall. What was your impression of the first 20 minutes?
Yeah, I love the first period. Like I mentioned earlier, like that really stood out to me. Like that was when I really thought, okay, this is a gutsy performance from a banged up roster that has a 4th string goalie making his NHL debut on the second half of a back to back where they had to travel as well. I know it's not that far, but I mean, you got to put it into the equation. That's time out of your day. It's tough what you got to do, and especially when you have multiple defensemen out, a top 6 center out. Like there's just injuries and obstacles all over the board on this one, and it's incredible that they were able to pull this out. And that starts with having a good period, especially up against a veteran team that likes to like grind teams down and then kind of play. Okay, let's get up and shut things down and park the bus here. So it was really good that they were able to have a hot first period.
What was your first note in the second period?
Let's see. Yeah, it's the goal. It's the goal. I think I was still coming back to the game.
I hit Brandy post ! Again.
Yeah, I didn't want to put the second one down. I was probably losing my mind.
After that, Brady had a great chance. Dude, how about the dangles, the hands on Brady Tkachuk when he was weaving through the defense? If he finished that would have been highlight reel stuff. But then, you're right. The Islanders get the opening goal in this game. And I noted that the shots were 8-2 in the period for the Islanders when that Ryan Pulock goal went in. He walked right down Main Street. Tough look for Timmy there.
Ross, I got Vegas brain. I was looking at my notes for the third period. My first note for the second period is 3 asterisks. Brandy hits the post again! ! Exclamation mark! And then, got Brady dancing in. So yeah, we were on the same page there.
Heck yeah. So that first Islanders goal, how'd you see that one going?
I didn't love this one, Ross, because the Islanders, they're able to really move the puck around here, and Pulock, he gets around Timmy. Timmy's really going for an aggressive play there, and it doesn't work. You win some, you lose some. But what I don't like here is Pulock gets into the slot, and no one challenges him. Like Zaitsev is right there, and Zaitsev doesn't know whether to sit back and kind of watch. I think there was a Islanders player behind him. Do I watch for the backdoor pass here? But even though Pulock's not a bona fide sniper, he's a really good defenseman that if you give him time and space and he's got the area right there in the high slot, he's going to at least get a really good shot off. And that was tough for Mando to get in there. So I didn't love that.
And then Ridley Gregg had a nice big hit on Anders Lee. Left him no worse for wear, though. He battled back and was a factor in this game, the Islanders captain. But I just noted that because Ridley ain't scared of anybody, and it was great to see him kind of put his physical stamp on this game. I actually thought the Greg Giroux DeBrincat line was the Sens' best in the first period. Obviously, the Timmy line pulled away after, but in the first line, I thought they generated a lot. Then later on, we talked about this goal already. Timmy Superstar flies into the zone with the puck and just rips it high glove. Thanks for coming out. Bad start to the period. Great end for the second period. I know you've been chomping at the bit to get to your third period notes, Pills, so why don't you get there?
Yeah, we could get there now. But the Palmieri penalty, I just felt really good about that one, Ross. I was like, okay, we're going to have a power play here. The power play is going to click. And like I mentioned, I really want to give a lot of credit to Thomas Chabot for his ability to really kind of fool the penalty killers into thinking, hey, he might let go a low wrister here. Let's all try to get in lanes and block shots. And he's able to smoothly, like, he doesn't give it away. It's not obvious that he's faking a shot. He smoothly slides it over and right to Timmy's tape. And then from Timmy's tape to Brady's stick right out front for a beautiful tip. So that's what
so sick. So sick. Branny's penalty that led to the goal. I know there's a lot of talk about that. We don't talk about the refs on this show, but that was kind of soft. It was a bit of a pick, I guess, if you want to go by the rule book, but I would have let him play.
Yeah, our friend of the show and recent guest, Pooley had the same opinion, Ross, and I agree with Pooley on that one because that was a soft call, and it sucks because Brandon was having a really good game, and that kind of puts a damper on it. I'm glad that they were able to win this one, and that wasn't as big a factor as it could have been.
And then Watson just couldn't clear the puck. They go out, Brock Nelson, cross ice one-timer. Not much Mando's going to be able to do on that one.
I mean, on both those goals, those are both really good chances that most goalies would not have saved, regardless of your experience or anything. So, and then both great saves in the shootout. So, Mando was as good as you could really ask from him, in my opinion.
I do want to make a note of this though, and I love Mando, but he got lucky early in the third period. It was another cross ice one-timer, and he did not get across, but they shot it right into him on the far side. Do you know the play I'm talking about?
Yeah, hey, you got to be lucky to be good, Ross.
That's just it. All right, let's say a quick word for our sponsors, and then we're going to get to our Sens Central standouts and take some listener questions, like from Sens fan in Van. Who starts in goal on Friday? Do the Ottawa Senators have a goaltending controversy? I don't know. First, quick word from our friends at FanDuel. I will go FanDuel, Pilsy, or you do FanDuel after I say a word from our friends at the Glebe Central Pub. Glebe Central Pub is your neighborhood pub in the heart of the Glebe. Get them for tasty food, cold drinks, and an amazing atmosphere. I promise we will be bringing all the atmosphere, all the energy that you can desire on Friday. The vibes are high. The Sens have won 6 of 7, and we are going to be at the Glebe Central Pub at 3 p.m. on Friday. Live show starts at 4. Buses leave at 5. Come get a ticket. We've been told that we can squeeze 3 per seat on the bus. We have 2 buses that are filled for 2 seats per, but if you come last minute, let's go. Let's squeeze on. Let's have a good time. Party bus leaving at 5 p.m. to the CTC. Chris Neal, jersey retirement, starts at 6 o'clock. So we're going to be in our seats for that one. Glebe Central Pub sponsors the Postcast all year long. Head there at 779 Bank Street and make sure you let them know that Locked On Senators sent you.
And we're also sponsored by FanDuel, the #1 sports book in North America. And Ross, I told you guys about a new FanDuel bet that I like to do. It's exclusive to FanDuel, I'm pretty sure. And that's first to 5 shots. I had a feeling the Sens were going to get there first, and I cashed in on that one. So that's a fun new prop bet that you can take a look at FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the Locked On Podcast Network. And I love their app. You got to check out the promos tab. They always got really good stuff cooking up. You can do same game parlays to get bigger payouts. That's always fun when you hit one of those. And don't forget to always just sprinkle a couple shekels on the Brady over 3.5 shots. As Ross, I'm not sure if Brady got 3. Oh, he got 9 shots. So that one I was feeling pretty good about, that's for sure. And you can too at fanduel.com.
By the way, I actually hit Timmy over shots on goal tonight because I knew that Brady was banged up. And I was like, maybe Brady will defer to Timmy a little bit. Turns out he got 9 of his own, but Timmy also with 3 shots, and his over-under was 2.5. So there we go. Thank you very much for coming out there. Always with our friends at FanDuel. Head to FanDuel.com/lockedon for more. You're listening to the Postcast after a 3-2 Sens shootout win over the New York Islanders. Don't look now, but the Ottawa Senators are undefeated in shootouts this season. 2-0. You'd remember the Boston Bruins falling in a shootout to Ottawa right before the new year, and now the New York Islanders have that same fate. Drake Batherson scored the shootout game winner. Tim Stützle and Brady Tkachuk at the lone markers in regulation, and Kevin Mandolese made 46 saves in his NHL debut. Pilsy, give me your first of 2 Sens Central standouts.
I'm glad you passed it over to me, Ross, or otherwise I would have strangled it back from you if you decided to take it first, because I've been calling for this for so long. Give Mando a chance. Like, if it was an opportunity where there wasn't dire injuries and you weren't down to your 4th stringer, sure, maybe you want to go with other guys. But this is a time, there's injuries, it's back-to-back games. It's a slap in the face of Mando to not play him. And I know Forsberg had a shutout last time this came up, so I mean, you can't really complain with that. But Mando goes and shows everyone that he's capable of doing this. Like, he played so amazing that you got to respect it. Like, that's an amazing NHL debut. Over 40 shots. He gets 46 saves in 48 shots. He was a big reason why this team was able to continue on in this game. That Horvat save in overtime he's got ice in his veins to make that type of save up against a player having a good season like Bo Horvat. So Mando is my first Sen Central standout of the game. Of course, I knew he was going to get the goggles tonight, Ross. I just knew it. The goalie-to-goalie goggle handoff was a thing of beauty. So thank you, Kevin Mandolese. Thank you.
Mando just reached out and said he appreciates all the love. So Mando is on board. He loves what the fans are bringing it. So keep rolling on for Kevin Mandolese, a valid first star in tonight's game. We'll get to who should start on Friday, but let's keep it rolling with our Sen Central standouts. And I got to go with Timmy Superstar. There's certainly a debate that you can have for especially one other guy. I think in particular had a phenomenal game tonight, but Tim Stützle gets the goal, gets another primary assist. He's played the most minutes on this Ottawa Senators team in how many games among forwards? Tonight, 23 minutes and 47 seconds.
You'll love to see that. Wow.
Team high, not a game high. Bo Horvat played 27-42, which is wild. But out of all Ottawa Senators, Tim Stützle, 23-47. The only nitpicky thing I want to get to is 36% in the dot. But what I will say is there was a big face-off in the third period where I didn't even know this was a rule. And it was such a weird play because the puck was flipped in from the far blue line, but it was bouncing and Parise's right on him. But they're saying because Mando covered it, they couldn't change. It was so weird. So they got stuck out on the ice. Timmy takes the draw and he wins that face-off. They don't give up possession. And then ultimately Mando's able to clear on a scramble or cover it on a scramble play. So that was probably the most important face-off that Timmy took all night, and he was able to win it. So that just tells me he's a complete gamer. And I mean, what more can you say about the hands, the shot, the skill? It's all there in spades. So I got Tim Stützle as my first Sen Central standout.
Yeah, Timmy is absolutely incredible. He's becoming he's already the player I thought he could be at his ceiling. You know what I'm saying? Like, if
Derek Stepan?
Hey, easy. But I thought he could be at this point 3 or 4 years down the road, and that would be his ceiling, and I would have been stoked about that. He's only going to get so much better in my mind. And Ross, your one nitpick about about Tim Stützle was he couldn't win many faceoffs and he had a tough time in the dot. That's why you got friends like Brady Tkachuk, my next Sen Central standout, because Brady Tkachuk, he had 6 for 9 in the dot, good for 67%. So when one of them is down, the other one is picking them back up. And that's why this team is going to have success in the future in my mind, because they've got guys that are able to do that. And the versatility of having Brady Tkachuk and Claude Giroux on wings on your top two lines when you've got young centermen is so important here. I mean, not to put down Ridley Gregg's 100% face-off success rate 2 for 2 in tonight's game, but it really helps when you have guys like that are able to step in. And Ross, not just automatically right away, but think of how many times linesmen decide to make the show about them and kick guys out of the face-off dot. Well, you're not sitting there being like, oh, let's just put a winger here and we'll just take the L on this face-off. No, you got another great guy that can come in and take a draw if that happens. So I think that's just crucial, and face-offs are a big part of the game, especially when you're a team like the Ottawa Senators. And Brady Tkachuk, 9 shots on goal, like I mentioned, a goal and an assist, 2 hits. He plays 20 minutes. Between the two of these guys, I'm not sure if you could ask for kind of a better combo all over, on and off the ice, and the way they each have different skills that the other guy doesn't have, and they're able to mesh together on a line. It's absolutely amazing.
Can I, for my final Sen Central standout, can I give it to a group?
You usually do. So if I would stop you now, that just wouldn't make any sense.
I mean,
so
I could flip through all the guys on the penalty kill and try to pick one, but all of them together were just so in sync. My two that really stood out of all of them, I mean, Travis Hamonic played 7 minutes shorthanded. And say what you want about maybe not always being the most accurate passer, and maybe he's pushing guys over his own goalie at times, but he battled tonight, man. He blocked
Yep.
some big shots too. I have to give some stick taps to what he did tonight. But Eric Brandstrom too, 5 minutes on the PK, 3 block shots,
I
hits
thought
2
Brady had a
posts.
great game. I thought he had a great game. Like, if we were going around once more, he would be my guy. Like, not even ironically. Like, it's all around. He's really looking a lot better, and he's taking advantage of this opportunity to kind of take Jake Sanderson's place while he's injured.
Tyler Mott blocked 5 shots in this game. Parker
Huge.
Kelly was a buzzsaw shorthanded, played 523 shorthanded, 2 block shots as well for him and a hit. I just thought the PK unit deserves some love, because going into overtime and then having to kill that one off, the 4-on-3, like, yeah, they give up the 1 goal, but still, I think that what they did shorthanded definitely deserves to be commended. So I'm going to go with the entire PK unit for this Ottawa Senators. I know that the New York Islanders don't necessarily have the most potent power play in the NHL, but I love what I saw from the PK unit, really helping out Mando for maybe, like, there was still quality chance, don't get me wrong, but I feel like a lot of them came at 5-on-5, not as many on the penalty kill. So I think that that we can wrap up the Sen Central standouts with that. And if you're watching just the clip, we're clipping our Sen Central standouts now, then you can head over and watch the entirety of the postcast, where we're going to dive in and take your questions in the chat. And if you miss it live, always head over and try to get in the chat after games. We're going to go back to doing it right after the game, but appreciate you guys sticking with us super late and on the East Coast right now. But yeah, so we appreciate 3-2 shootout win for the Ottawa Senators over the New York Islanders. All right, Sam, really appreciate you putting a couple shekels in the guitar case, as we like to say here. Every time Stützle does something to make me think he's the best on the team, Brady does something to keep that title for himself. That's so well said.
Like, that's essentially a wrap-up of what we just did there with our Sen Central standouts. Like, these two as a duo are awesome, and it's so comforting having these guys locked up. We don't have to stress. We can see this connection go on for years. Oh, what a breath of relief.
Like, what kind of conversations would we be having right now? Remember the conversations around Josh Norris? Like, what's he going to get? Dude, he had 35 goals in 65 games. That's impressive. Timmy is just taking it to a whole other level, what he's doing. I don't even know. That number has to start with a 9, no?
Oh, definitely. And I mean, Brady Tkachuk has even more points than him. He's got a point more than him. They both lead the team here. So, yeah, having these two guys locked up long term at the money that they're at is such an amazing move. And you got to shout out Pierre Dorion for getting this deal done in the offseason. Like, if this deal is done or not done, and they got to negotiate this summer, oof. I don't think we're seeing the AAV we saw that actually happened.
Darius mentions he'd like to see Timmy have an A. That'll happen one day, but it almost feels like a hierarchy in terms of when they got to the team, right? Like, we used to have Tony Ferrari once came on our show and was like, Jake Sanderson's going to wear a letter in the NHL.
Yep.
Like, yeah, eventually I think he should. He's a leader, but like, you have to go down the list. Like, I think Josh Norris probably gets one before Timmy, right? Not necessarily because he's the best player on the team, but you look at it, he's been there 2 years longer, and he is a leader in his own right. I don't know. Like, if they're both healthy, I think Josh has maybe worn it for one game, if that. But obviously, you're going with Giroux as your alternate up front. Brady's the captain, and you always have one guy in the back end. That's going to be Thomas Chabot, right, for the foreseeable future. So
Yep.
I think it'll look good. And, of course, knock on wood, you never want to see injuries. But I think one day you will see Timmy wearing a letter on this team. He's here for 9 years, including this one, at least.
Yeah. So I think that's the thing. Good problems. Like, there's not enough non-leaders around that Timmy can't get a letter here. So
Steve King mentioning Timmy deserves a C. Yeah. I mean, Brady's the dog, though.
I would say that's pushing it, but it's not that crazy. It's not that crazy.
Seth wants to ask, where can we find the LOSP fellows on Friday besides the pub? Well, we're going to be taking the Glebe Central Pub shuttle to and from the CTC. We're sitting in 321. I don't know why. I have this like mental thing where I have to have the logo facing me. I always have to sit on the penalty box side. I don't care if I'm in the last row in the building or right at the glass. I've actually never sat right at the glass. But I need to be on that side, and I like seeing the benches. I like being able to see who's standing up, who's ready to go, who's maybe missing. I need to be in the loop on that.
No, and that's just it. That's what I was going to say. It's such an advantage being on that side that I agree. And Seth, to also answer your question, if you hang out at Shawarma Palace on, let's see if I listen to the ad read Ross's OG location, Rito and Bank.
No.
Rito
And
I don't know the other street.
Chapel, Augusta. It's like right in there.
Okay,
Close.
well, you can.
The other ones are. There are 2, maybe even 3 Shawarma Palaces on Bank Street.
Okay, so I was close enough there. My Ottawa geography isn't as good as most, but you can probably find us at that Shawarma Palace also, Seth. There's a good chance we're getting. Actually, no, there's like a 98% chance we're getting lunch there that day. So.
I cannot wait. Can't happen soon enough. Let's keep rolling through here. Love getting the questions in the mix here. You got one? Oh yeah, 321. We're in section 321. I believe it's row G. Maybe. 321 for sure. So we'll see you there 100% at the game. Boots on the ground. And excuse me. Sorry. We're fired up. Guys, I just finished my last shift before the trip. Tomorrow I pack, I got all my errands done, and I'm boots on the ground. I just had 9 shifts in a row. We're humming right now. So fired up to get this absolutely off the ground here. Team picture next year. Everyone wears the C, because they're all deserving.
I like it.
But any other questions here as we can roll through here? Hippopotamus, I love it. He's always in the mix here. I'll get that name right eventually. Does Sanderson pass Lafreniere as being the number 1 or number 2 guy in the 2020 draft? I mean, I think that outside of Timmy, like the best player from that draft right now is probably Cole Perfetti or Anton Lundell. Like those are the 2 guys that jump out right away as being like the top dogs.
We're talking about 2020?
The draft.
I still have a lot of respect for Lucas Raymond. I know maybe he hasn't been the same, but that's a player I still hold in high regard. So I would have him ahead of Perfetti.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Cole Perfetti didn't have, he had some injury trouble last year. He's got 29 points in 49 games, but again, he's sheltered. He's playing the wing right now, but, and it's unfortunate that Jamie Drysdale's been hurt, because who knows what the next step in his development would be. Obviously Seth Jarvis been really good. Dawson Mercer, with the Devils rather.
What
Rangers,
a draft. Wow.
Just a great draft. And that's what all the experts were saying rolling into it, right? So
we covered that draft extensively, Ross. Like I said it, and I'm not joking. Not that I went to Harvard Law, and as you guys know, I'm not a doctor, so my schooling wasn't exactly extensive. But that I've never studied for anything more in my life than we did the 2020 draft, because there was no hockey. It kept getting pushed back. The Sens had the 3rd and 5th pick. Like we really dove into a lot of those prospects. So it's sweet that a lot of those guys are going to go on to have great careers, and we can remember what they were like heading into the draft.
Oh, so good. So good. Some people saying Lundell. Sanderson,
Lundell's up there for sure.
But right in the mix.
Yeah,
just to answer Seth's final question there, I just work at a radio station here in Winnipeg. Darius asking, are there plans for a postcast?
Oh hum, voice of Winnipeg over there, just humming it.
After the Chicago game. So this is a work in progress. We're going to see, because we're going back to the Glebe Central pub. 1, we're going to see what the final score is. 2, we're going to see how our voices are. 3, we're going to see if we're fit, if we pass the podcathalyzer, we'll call it.
Word of the day.
The postcathalyzer. Make sure that our blood podcasting level is good to go, and if so, then we're going to try to set it up from the Glebe Central pub with the live crowd. But we're not making any more promises about it.
Yes.
But there might be a surprise postcast. We'll see how that game goes. Sens taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. Seth saying, instead of a ceremonial puck drop, Chris Neal and Brady Tkachuk should just fight at center ice. Get the boys fired up. Maybe after the game. We need them to rock and roll. Let's wrap up with this question, Pillsy. It was Sens fan in Van who asked who starts on Friday. And it's the more I think about it, the more difficult the answer becomes.
Right? Like when I think I've made a decision, I then go to the next guy's arguing points. And I'm like, oh man, like, because like Sogard, he's the guy that's ahead right now, and he's the top goalie prospect. And in times like this, you want to see what you have out of him the most, give him the most experience. So that's a perfectly good answer to start Mad Sogard. Then you start looking at Mando, who just had a historic NHL debut. 46 saves, stops both on the shootout, makes a handful of 10 bell saves. So why wouldn't you ride that momentum going into the next game? You know what? I will have an official. I need to sleep on this and spend some more time thinking about this, because this is a heavy organizational decision that needs to be had here, and we'll have a decision made before Friday, Ross. Because right now, I would have thought, okay, both of those aren't ideal options. Now they're both great options in my mind, so I absolutely love it.
And they're playing the Chicago Blackhawks. Steve King pointing out that this is not a good hockey team. They're shut out 4-0 tonight by
This is
Montreal.
a good point here by Sander Sensed.
Go for it.
Sogard Friday, so Mando plays Star Wars game. Like that's dead on. And
I also want to say that our great friend Rob, friend of the show Rob from Gatineau, has donated 2 tickets for Sunday against St. Louis. Pilsy, I was thinking that we could do another Twitter giveaway, but how about this? How about we give them away at the live show?
Boom. Yep. That's the play. The value of these $15 tickets, not to go used car salesman on everyone here, but like it is absolutely crazy. The value alone on the shuttle is nuts. You get to come to LOSP's first ever live show. You get to experience the wonderful, wonderful experience of the Glebe Central pub. I'm excited to go there, Ross. We haven't had a chance, or at least I haven't, to go there. So that'll be my first time. And for $15, and we're doing giveaways. There's going to be Send Central merch there. We're going to have an absolute time. We're going to do trivia. We're going to get people involved. It's going to be fun. It's going to be the most fun.
It's going to be the most fun. You know what? Tomorrow's going to be fun too. We'll give our official answer to tomorrow, but it's the opposite of a dilemma. You're right, Sens fan in Van. It's awesome to see Mando do well, man. I'm so fired up for this. Happy flight home for the Sens, who are now 20, 12, and 2. Very respectable record since U.S. Thanksgiving. Like, this is almost a 3-month sample size now, Pillsy. Like, it was cute when it was like, hey, they're 9, 2, and 1. They're this and that. But like 20, 12, and 2 in their last 34 games. Like, it's a respectable chunk of the season.
It really is. It's such a damn shame November is their kryptonite. It sucks.
It sucks so much, but nope, they didn't.
Season's
get any
not over. The season's not. I'm not getting too crazy. I've got an adrenaline shot full of positive Pillsy here from this game, so I'm not gonna say the P word. Although
I know. Nope. No.
I was just gonna say the alliteration tends to happen with me. Pillsy preaching patience, positive Pillsy. Maybe we'll have a P word Pillsy, but the vibes are good. So that's what I'll end this on.
But how good are the vibes? Are the vibes good? The San Jose Sharks just cut the lead in half. Timo Meier just scored. It was 2-0 with 4 minutes left for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now it's 2-1. If they could somehow, someway, if we got an Erik Karlsson goal right now to tie the game, my goodness. Just put the crown back on him. Pittsburgh's up 2-1 with 4 minutes left right now. So that's something we'll update you on the standings, everything. We'll get into that tomorrow. We appreciate everyone for being with us. Almost 1 a.m. Eastern. I got to get home and get ready for my trip to Ottawa. I'm so fired up. Pillsy, we'll talk about this more on the pod, but I need the people's opinion as well. Do I go with the white Alfie jersey that I've been wearing to games? It's undefeated on home ice in the last 4 appearances at the Canadian Tire Center. A part of me wants to do black Brady Tkachuk and buy the C for $10 and get that stitched on. I know Martian just got the white Timmy Stew, but I feel like he's going to go Patty Lalime. I feel like
he's got to. It's
I feel like we have to
move.
But we have to wear the 3 jerseys that we've been wearing, right? Like, although the home opener against Toronto, I wore the Brady jersey. Remember?
This is true. This is a big dilemma, and I think we're going to have to do a Twitter poll to ultimately figure this out, because like the goaltending dilemma, all are good options, Ross.
And just so everyone's aware, though, I wore the white Alfie in December in Winnipeg, and they got pumped 5-1.
That needs to be considered.
Or did I?
Oh, boy.
Or did I wear the Brady one? Because Brady's got the Winnipeg roots. I might have worn I got to go find the photos. We're going to get the crack.
We got to check the tape.
Yeah, Steve says get a Kevin Mandolese jersey. No
Woo!
Neil jersey, though. I mean, dude, I might get that 25 hat, though. Did you see those?
Yeah, I did see those. Oh, man. We got to say, I'm going to carry, those clickers that you can get to count, like security guards at clubs have them to count like how many people are in. I'm going to bring a clicker and count the Neil jerseys. And we got to get an over-under guess on Twitter going on here.
Watch what you promise.
I mean, it's going to be the most, I guarantee this, on Friday's game will be the largest gathering of Chris Neil jerseys the world has ever seen. Gotta be, right?
You want to know how you do guarantees? I guarantee the Sens are going to be winners tonight. That's how you do guarantees.
I love it.
It already happened.
That sounds good to me. Yeah.
So if you have a clicker, bring it to the Glebe Central Pub.
Bring me a clicker, yeah.
And Pilsy will spend the entire game just getting after it. One of his thumbs is going to triple in size. He's going to look like the Hulk. And then when the Hulk is just, who's the Hulk before he goes crazy? Just a regular guy, I guess.
Mark Ruffalo, but I don't know the
I don't know either. Hey, the Sens went 3-2 in a shootout. Appreciate everyone for jumping in the postcast with you. Just a great time. Pilsy, welcome back at 5 a.m. tomorrow, and we'll chat in the podcast. We got a Sens Central Citizen coming. Bruce Banner. We can always rely on the good people, the Sens Central Citizens out there. It's going to be an absolute time. Yeah, until Pilsy gets buzzed and he's just going to hit the clicker. He's going to be like, I saw 45,000 Chris Neil jerseys tonight. Awesome. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Honestly, it really makes this so much fun. And having the Sens be winners of 6 of their last 7, it's certainly a good feeling. So let's continue to carry this momentum into Friday. We'll have Locked On Senators for you tomorrow with the Sens Central Citizen. We're going to work on a guest for you for Thursday. And then on Friday's show, Pilsy and I will be together in Ottawa recording from Mom and Dad's in Alta Vista.
The Levitan studio. Oh, man.
The Levitan studio.
Last time we did that, it was an absolute blast. And we're going to get a whole bunch of in-person content done for you guys. So just hold on. Hold on. If you think the vibes are good now, oh boy.
The best is yet to come. But tonight, the Senators get a 3-2 win in a shootout over the New York Islanders. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. Shout out to the Glebe Central Pub for sponsoring the Postcast all season long. Check them out at the Glebe Central Pub at 779 Bank Street. And make sure you let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. Let's get some Go Sens Go in the chat on the way out. Go Sens Go.